So the reason why they were coming to fumigate my house is because there were bed bugs in the house. Yep. It was the most baffling thing ever. Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about graduate school. And if this is your first time here, hiya! My name is Rachel and I'm a product designer based in Belfast, UK. So if I'm looking down here, that's because I'm looking at my notes. So I thought I would give you like a background, first of all, of how I got into graduate school and everything that happened all way before then. So I've been trying to get into graduate school for like the longest time, first of all, and it took like a very long time for me to finally get into graduate school, and not because I didn't get admission, but because I was very particular about the course I wanted to study. I wanted to study, at first it started off with wanting to study graphic design. Then as my career progressed, I moved to wanting to study UX design or product design. And over the years I've applied to so many schools, and I applied to different schools. Different schools have different names that they call their courses. I've applied to different schools in the US, Europe, and finally in the UK. So throughout the period of my different application, I wrote TOEFL. I also wrote IELTS. And it's very annoying that I had to write those exams, even though every time it's not like I stopped speaking English. I don't exactly understand why that thing expires, to be honest, because it's not like you stop speaking English and or from Nigeria, we're like English speaking. English is our official language, so I don't think get why they make us write those exams. Anyways, throughout this period, I applied to different schools in the US. I applied to SCAD. I applied to Chalmers University of Technology. I applied to so many universities, and over time, I first of all started applying to the US. That was where my application process started, from applying to universities in the US, and I would get admission, but obviously the fees were just a lot, and I would also apply for scholarships, and I would get the scholarships. But the only problem is I would get like 10% of the entire fee. So say for example I was supposed to pay like £1,000 and I get like maybe like £10 or as a scholarship, or maybe £100 as scholarship. It was just the balance did not, it was not balancing, it didn't make any sense. So year in year out I was paying application fee. I was applying to all of these universities, just trying to find one, and I was very particular about studying design. There was obviously no school in Nigeria um that was giving like a graduate degree for studying design, so my options were only outside the country. So after a while of applying to the US and was not working, I shifted my focus to applying to Europe. So I started to apply to schools in Finland, Sweden, in Copenhagen, Denmark. I also had friends in Denmark at that time that had moved, friends that we finished our bachelor's degree together. So it just made more sense to apply to those places also. And they did get scholarships. So I started applying. I also started applying, and I found schools that I really loved in Sweden, um, Malmo University, Chalmers University, and my journey into applying to schools in Sweden started. And I started applying to schools in Sweden, and I would get admission again, and the same thing was happening. The cost was a lot. And Sweden has this Swedish Institute scholarship that people apply for that covers like the entire cost, and even covers like your travel, and it gives you stipends also. But as you can imagine, it's a very competitive scholarship, and I was applying year in, year out. We'll get the admission from the university, I wouldn't get the scholarship, or I might get scholarship from the university, and it was just really small. And that just continued. Um, I should also mention that during that period, I did continue with my career. I also made the switch finally from graphic design to product design after I got into like a prestigious design fellowship. I made a video about it. I'm going to link that video up here if you've not seen that video. It's called the Kimoyo Fellowship. And I finally made a switch into product design. And from there, I got a job in a startup based in the US, and I basically started working as a product designer also throughout this period. Then finally, in sometimes around April, May 2022, I'd applied to Sweden again. And Sweden has this application system almost similar to JAM, where you can apply to like 4 schools with the same application fee. And once you apply to one and you get the admission on one day, they discard the remaining. If you don't get admission in the first one, they give you like the next one, like that kind of thing. I feel as if right now I know everything that has to do with Swedish application system because of how much I apply to them year in year out. And I was determined to go to Sweden, and I was determined that this school, you must accept me, you must give me admission by force by fire. And when the results came out, they didn't give me an admission, and I was heartbroken. I cried out my eyes. Oh my god! Year in year out, this was like normal thing. It became like very normal for me to receive just bad news concerning this, and I would just cry and move on. I'm like, oh, I'll try next year again. So I didn't get the admission. I'm like, okay, this time we're going to do something about it, because the reasons I asked for like a feedback for why I didn't get the admission, because I felt that I should get it. And they said something about not having enough interaction design, something, which did not make any sense. And I'm like, okay, I work already as a product designer. I'm already in the field. So even if you think my degree in computer science, which is what I have my bachelor's in, does not have enough interaction design things, what about my work? I submitted my CV, I did appeal, I went back and forth with them, I emailed everybody in that university, I called everybody that I could call, I did an appeal so many times, and we just went back and forth a lot of times. And I'm sure by now everybody in that university probably knows that there's one Rachel that's from Nigeria that used to disturb us. Anyways, so I did that a lot, back and forth, and my cousin encouraged me to try UK, and I'm like, UK, this UK safe. Anyways, I'm like, okay, let me just give it a try. At least they're not even collecting an application fee. So, and to apply to the UK, you didn't even need to pay any application fee. So I was like, I'll just apply anyway. So I applied to a few schools in the UK. I remember checking out Kingston University, Loughborough University, and some other few schools that I just applied to here, and Ulster University. So during that period of waiting on the Swedish school to finally send me some sort of um, answer to my appeal, I finally heard back from one of the schools that I applied to in the UK, which is Ulster University, which is the university I ended up going to. Ulster University gave me admission, and my cousin's like, okay, just start to process this one. Pending while you are waiting, let's just see, just submit all your documents that you need to submit. You're not committing to anything yet, because I was determined to go to Sweden. So I then finally I heard back from the Swedish people after like a very long time. I feel like they wasted my time a lot. After I heard back from them, they obviously refused my appeal again. I think I appealed like 2 to 3 times, which they refused every single time. So Ulster University called me. So okay, I decided to go forward with like my Ulster University application. Then Ulster University called me. They called me once or twice just to ask me how my application process was going. I was like, okay, wow, these people are serious. These people even want me, not like these Swedish people that are just doing me left, right, front, and center. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stick to this UK school. It makes a lot of sense, and it was also going to be self-funded. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So from then on, everything went like a roller coaster. I went on pretty fast. I applied to do the biometrics. I applied to do like the TB test. I applied for my visa. Everything went on really fast. There was time for me to get my the visa result. I went to get it. I spent like the whole day there. If you know anything about visa thing in Nigeria, it's always like a struggle. So I spent like the whole day there. And when I came back home, I remember when I came back home, my house was full, and that's because it was also my sister's wedding that weekend. That week was my sister's wedding, so the house was full and teeming with people everywhere. And I remember because of how long we had to stay in that visa place in Ikeja, it was very late by the time we came back. Our phones were dead. Everything was just practically dead. And when I got home, I remember pretending to my friends like I didn't get it. But I did. I got the visa and I was so excited. I was finally going to make the move. So I got the visa and everything was ready, and it was time for me to make the move. And after my sister's wedding, I was going to be moving like in a few weeks after that time. Everything what happened like a quick rush, to be honest. I didn't expect it. It happened like really fast. And after my sister's wedding, I fell ill. So I had less time to even plan for my move. I think I had like less than 2 weeks or 2 weeks to plan for my move, because even by the time it was time for me to book a flight, the earliest flight I could find was like 1st of October, which meant I will also be resuming uni late, because orientation had started at around, I think, 19th of September or 20 something of September or so. So finally, I left Nigeria 1st October. As a patriotic citizen that I am, I left Nigeria 1st October to head to the UK. So I took flight from Lagos, Nigeria to Doha to Qatar, then from Doha to Manchester, then from Manchester to Belfast. If you want to see a video of that, I also have a video of all of my travels. Um, I'm going to leave a link to it in the description box and also in the card above for you to check out. My friend was going to be welcoming me in Belfast, Dolapo, and she came to Belfast. She stays in, she moved from Germany to the UK, and she had been in the UK for about a while before I came. So she came over to welcome me. So I had like soft landing, which I'm pretty much excited for. So she came over to welcome me, and the next morning there was a fire in the building of the hotel we slept in. But if you just want to know the story of all of that, I have that in that video, so you can go and check that video out. So yeah, that's like background story. So let's go into like graduate school. So first of all, I want to say that if you're going into graduate school, even if you have experience in the field, go with a very open mind. I think even though I went with an open mind, I think I was still closed off a bit to some things. I wish I had just been more open-minded about things and not feel like, oh, I know these things already. Even if you know those things already, just be very open-minded. I remember my first class, design thinking, and it was just things that I could relate to. Maybe not in the exact form, but it was things I sort of understood already a bit, just because I worked in the industry already. And it was quite a small class, which I really liked. I think we're just about 10 in my class. Yes, we're just about 10 in my class. So it was, everybody knew everybody in the class. I had like 2 courses in the first semester, design thinking and exploration and tactics. That was like the other course. And they were both like project-based course. We had to do like a project and also write paper. Papers were like where I struggled a lot. So obviously writing academic paper is different from writing an article. If you don't know, now you know. So writing academic paper is obviously very, very different from writing an article. And for me, that had been out of school for like a very long time, it was having to bring back all those, you have to keep your references, you have to do this, you have to do that, you cannot write in first person, you have to write in second person or third person. Oh my god, I struggled a lot with that. And I also did like my papers last minute again. I was so focused on like the project part of things, because that is what I thought, that is what I obviously excelled in, the project based things. So I was just happy to focus on that and do my paper last minute. But this is my advice to you: don't ever, don't leave your papers to the last minute. Start it off very early, start doing your research very early, start writing it, start sending it out to your professor back for review. And which is another thing I like the most about Ulster University. My professors were really very nice. They offered to give you, like, even from like week 4, week 5. I remember Janet, that's the professor in charge of design thinking, was already offering tutorials for everyone to come and get tutorials, to submit like a draft of their paper, to send in their topic of their paper, so that they can get feedback on time and go back. So I remember that for my own feedback day, I had to reschedule with her, because the house that I got after my friend went back to Sweden, I moved into an Airbnb for about 2 weeks plus or so. Then I finally got a place to stay, and the place was really nice, looked really nice. It was about 15 minutes away from the university. It was like perfect place, but I did not understand that I was in for it. So I had to reschedule my meeting, my tutorial with Janet at that point because they were coming to fumigate my house again. Everyone. So the reason why they were coming to fumigate my house is because there were bed bugs in the house. Yep. It was the most baffling thing ever. Like bed bugs in the UK. I've never seen a bed bug in my life. When I come to the UK, UK is the first time I see a bed bug, and I had to live with bed bugs for like the next 6 months. I struggled and had to stay there before I finally got a place to move in. So before I finally got another place, so I had to reschedule like that meeting with Janet. I remember sending her an email telling her that, oh, this is what is going on, and I'm sorry I have to reschedule. She's like, oh, it's okay, it's all fine. Let me know how it goes. And I'm like, yeah, this is really nice. Oh, and I come back for like the meeting with her, and we go over like my topic, over what to include, and everything like that. And I remember her writing me an email and saying, "Oh, I'll come and meet you in the class." And I'm like, "You come and meet me?" Like, even though I went to like a private university, I don't think we got that kind of treatment. Your professor coming to meet you where? It's you that will go and meet the professor. It's you that want something. But she's like, "Oh, I'll come and meet you. Let me know where you want us to meet, and I'll come and meet you." I'm like, "Okay." Definitely the educational system is definitely different. I don't know if that's the same way for all schools in the UK, but for also university, that's how it was for me. It was very personalized. And again, it could be due to the fact that my class was really small, but it was just really, really personalized. And I really love the interaction between lecturers, professors, and students. You could literally send them an email for anything. You could meet them to talk about anything. You could ask for feedback. They will be the one telling you, come, bring your work, let me give you feedback, or come and do tutorials. They'll set up their calendars for you and everything for you to come and do tutorials. I'm like, these people mean business. So anyways, back to the bedbug story. So for the first time I moved into that house, when I moved in, I realized, well, I saw something. First of all, the room was not clean. It was a house share. So that means I have my room, but I'm sharing like communal areas with everyone. Communal areas will include like the sitting room, the kitchen, and the bathrooms. So we had like two bathrooms. So I think I was sharing bathroom with like about one or two people. So the room was not cleaned at first, and I sent a message to the agent saying, "Oh, the room is not clean." She's like, "Oh, we'll make sure that we clean it." I thought they've cleaned it. I'm so sorry that they didn't clean it and all of that. And I just managed to do some quick cleaning. And while I was doing some quick cleaning, I saw something really funny, and I'm like, "This cannot be what I think it is." And I didn't want to Google it because I'm like, Google will come and say I'm going to die now or something funny. Anyway, so I take a picture and send it to my mom and ask my mom that, while I also Google it, and I'm like, I'm not going to believe Google because I don't want to believe it is what it is. And I asked my mom confirms to me that was indeed a bed bug. And that was the beginning of struggle of bed bug in the house. So apparently they'd been dealing with bed bug issues in that house. And I think they should have made me aware of that, or they thought it had gone, but it did not go anywhere. That period, that first 6 months was like the most traumatic time in my life, to be honest. I struggled a lot. I cried a lot. I cried every day because if you know anything about housing in the UK, you know that it is very hard to find a place. And when you finally find a place and this happens, it's always very difficult. So it was so bad that I was starting to have nightmares. And apparently it's like a side effect of like living or staying with bed bugs. I'll put like some screenshot here. So it was very bad. I was starting to have nightmares. I was becoming very twitchy. It felt like I had like PTSD. In fact, I still feel it up to now because anytime I see any tiny thing crawling, or anytime I see something crawling, I'm very, what's that? What's that? What's that? I'm very twitchy about it. I was very twitchy. I didn't like things crawling on me or dropping on me. It made me like very, very twitchy. I was having nightmares. I was not sleeping well. Um, I was leaving my house very early in the morning to go to the uni. Thank God the uni was not far. So, and there was this room, one room cubicle in the uni that one person could just stay. Everybody that knew me, they knew that I had like an office because I would stay there. I would leave my house like somebody was pushing me. Of course, bedbugs were pushing me early in the morning, like 7 a.m. Even when I did not have classes, I had classes maybe like 2 times in a week. So, even when I did not have classes, I'll leave my house and go to the university, and I would come back late at night, say like 11 or 12 p.m. Again, my house was close by, like 15 minutes walk, so I could afford to do that. But that was what really helped me keep like my sanity a bit. But it was just a very tough time because I was really, really struggling. And I remember my parents being worried, my mom was worried, my dad was laughing it off. And there was one time it was so bad that I was just very sad. I don't know if it was that or just coupled with being cold, because again I was also dealing with change of weather and everything, that anytime I would talk to my parent, then I would just tear up and just cry. So I didn't even like to call them again. I would just only do audio call. I didn't like to do video call. And my mom would send me messages and say, "Show your face now. I've not seen you." But it was just because whenever I called, I would just tear up and just start crying. But really there was nothing they could do. That's like another big thing of moving. You're on your own, like you're on your own now. So so all through that period, all of that was happening. I mean, regular school was going on. I was also working remotely during that period, so I worked remotely up until December of 2022. In December I also traveled. I traveled to England for to spend Christmas with my friend Dolapo that came to pick me up from the airport. So we spent Christmas together. It was really good. And in January came, school started, and results came out. First semester result came out, and it was then I realized my paper game was not papering. And when my result came out, when I saw that result, I cried. And don't get me wrong, I didn't think I'm one of those people that will cry for passing and say I did not get enough marks, but I did. And I didn't fail. I didn't exactly fail. I got a B, if I'm being fair. I passed. But it was just that I asked everybody around me, and everyone said that they got an A. I got an A and I got an A. And I came up with this quote that says, "In a class full of A's, B feels like failure." Yep. I really felt like I failed just because everybody I asked said they got A. Then why did I get B? And I asked for feedback from my professor, and it was like, okay, your structure of your paper, writing your paper, and you need to do more research and all of that, and also presentation. So during the first semester, while I was presenting, I was using Figma to present, and at some point, my Figma kept on going off and on. It should just go back to the first slide. To always go back to the first, and it did that about 3 or 4 times. And my professor was like, at that point, you had lost everybody. People were now on their phones, that you should have just left the slide and just continue presenting to us. Or you are presenting to us, and you could have easily just done that without your slide. So that was like a very big lesson I learned that day. And it also showed me that when you think that nobody's watching what you are doing, or you think that nobody's seeing how you're struggling, people are actually watching you. They are watching what you're doing. So yeah, that was like the feedback I got for like my first semester. So I was like, second semester I'm going to put in so much more effort for me to get an A. So also second semester, luckily enough, I also got a job at the university as a global ambassador. It was a part-time job. So the global ambassador included helping other international students and welcoming them. And it was a job I really, really enjoyed. I enjoyed that job so much. Um, I realized that I found a lot of fulfillment in helping people, and I was just happy at that job. And even sometimes when my shift was over and they didn't pay me, I would still stay back and do the job. That was how much fulfillment that job gave me. I really, really enjoyed that job. So that went on. So second semester came, we had also project-based courses. We had to do like projects and write papers. We didn't have exams anyway, so it was just project and papers. It was like group project. It was always a group project. In second semester, it was like entrepreneurship, start up a business, how would you make money in the business, and all of that. That was like very good. So one thing I did differently in second semester that was different from first semester was when I got my paper, there is this platform at also universities called Studiosity that you can submit your assignment and your papers to and you get feedback. So I did that, and they gave me feedback on the paper. So that really helped me a lot. And this time I got an A when my result came out. I was really excited that I got an A in the courses for my second semester. I was so happy that I passed and I got an A. Okay, it's not like I did not pass the last time. I did pass, but this time I got an A, so I was really happy. And during that period also for the second semester, I remember mentioning an idea I had in class about being able to travel and being able to pay for your travel and saving up for travel. And somebody in my class had mentioned that there was like a startup accelerator where they bring people with different ideas come together to form a team and start like a startup. So, and that my idea was similar to an idea that people had mentioned in there, that would I like to join a team? I'm like, oh yes, I would like to give it a trial. So she connects me with the team. I meet two of the team members, and I joined the team. So I joined the team and we got into like startup accelerator, and we did sprint after sprint after sprint after sprint, and we got to top 10 finalists. And that was how I somehow became a co-founder of a startup called Solo Book. I'm the chief design officer there. So that's how I became a co-founder, because we became top 10 finalists and we decided to move forward with the project. So Solo Book is a platform that helps solo female travelers find relevant information. Currently, we're going to be helping people collect information from all around the internet for them to find in one place using AI as our first phase. So watch out for Solo Book. And so it was time for third semester, which is like the last semester, also like the period where you do like your projects. So during, oh, I didn't even talk about when my MacBook failed. Oh my god. So the thing that happened like in second semester also, my MacBook decided to act up on me. So there was one day I went to class and my MacBook would just not come on. No, it would come on, but it had like lines, very funny lines on it. And I just didn't know what was going on. And I took it to Apple Store, and they told me that it was going to cost me like 500 and something pounds. And I'm like, nope, I'm not going to spend this kind of money. In fact, I do not have, this is more than my rent for per month. I'm not going to be spending this. Or my professor helped me to figure out that if I did connect my MacBook to like a monitor, I could still use it. It's just I will not be able to see like my screen on the MacBook. So I was there. God really blessed me with people. I think we do not understand having the gift of people and community until you move. Then you understand how important people and community is. I never really felt this way, to be honest, back in Nigeria, because you just had people around you. Your parents were always there, your family was always there. So it's when you move, you understand how important family, people, having just a community around you is just really good. So I got a monitor. My professor borrowed me a monitor that I could use for the meantime, and that was just like a lifesaver for me. Um, I also found like a church that I really like here. It's called Exchange Church, and it's a community of very amazing people. So that was also like having like that as a community was really good, because when I was going to finally make the move, when I finally got a new place, it was my church members that helped me move, like the most awesome people ever, Nicola and George. They helped me move. And at first, when I went for the viewing, in the last 6 months, I'd done like so many viewings that at times my friend would send me a house and I'm like, I've seen this house. In fact, I've been to the viewing of this house. I went to so many viewings that when I came to the viewing of the place I am currently, I was like, I'm definitely not getting this house, because the place was so homely, so nice, so beautiful, and the landlady was just really nice. And later on, she calls me and said, "Oh, I've decided to give you the room." I'm like, "What?" Because it was also going to be like a house share. And I'm like, "What? Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yes." So that's how I got another place. It was really nice. I remember when I moved in, my landlady had like a gift for me on the bed and also like a welcome card for me, which I thought was really nice. And trust me, it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made to move. to that place. My landlady is like one of the best persons I've ever met, and also is really close to my church. So it was like everything just worked out for good, like God has always said it will. So third semester, obviously projects, and I'd always known the project I wanted to do since I came, because it was just a transportation app here. The transportation company responsible for transportation in Northern Ireland is called TransLink, and they are the ones responsible for the buses, the train. We have so many different types of buses and trains, and they're the one responsible for everything. But their app is shitty. So I'd always said I was going to do that for my project. And luckily enough, my friend Mamina also wanted to do that. So we talked to our professor about doing that, and he was like, oh, you guys can do like project together. So we ended up doing our project together. We did like the project based work together, but the writing of our papers had to be different. We have to write from our own different point of view. And we really worked hard on the project. Mamina was like one of the perfect partners. We had different personalities, but we still made it work, which is what I really loved. Um, we had like different strengths and weaknesses working on the project, but it just all came together, which was just really amazing. We also got the chance when we finished and submitted the project. We submitted it in I think it was in September. Submitted in September. We also got the chance to present the project to a company that helped us during our research phase. During our research phase, we talked to so many people. My supervisor Daniel was really awesome. Mamina supervisor Janet was also really great. Everything just worked together in good faith, yeah. And I even remember interviewing drivers about it, and I met a very very wonderful driver that was willing to speak to me. She was amazing. And yeah, so we submitted our project and we're just waiting for our results. By the time our results came, I think our results came out in October or November. Finally got that email that told us what we're going to be graduating it, and I got to know that I was going to be graduating with distinction. I was so happy. Oh my god, my heart leaped for joy. I was so happy to be graduating distinction because it's like a dream come true. And to top it up, I got an email saying that I was nominated to give like the vote of thanks on my graduation, and I just could not believe it. In fact, when I got that email, at first I was doing a video to say, "Oh, I got this email. I asked God for a surprise, and I got this email." Then I went back to look for the email, and the email disappeared. I think it was record. Then I didn't get anything for like 2 days, 3 days. Then finally, I got the email back, and this time I took a screenshot first to be very sure, and so that I can remind myself that I was not seeing double. And I kept on every day. I'll go and check the email again to be sure that the email was meant for me. But yes, it was. And I remember just putting together my speech. My sister helped me, and it was just really amazing. And just standing on that podium and talking to so many people about our experience at Ulster University was just a wonderful time. If you'd like to listen to my speech, I'm going to leave a link to it in the description box for you to check it out. Also, if you'd like to check out my final year presentation with me or my partner, I'm also going to leave a link to it in the description box. Yeah, that's how graduate school year went. There was a lot of ups and downs, but I'm glad it all turned out really well. A lot of different experiences built me up to what I am today. I've met so many amazing people. Belfast is an amazing city. I've met like some of the best people in my entire life, and I'm just glad to be here. There's like job search going on and all of that, but I'm sure everything is going to work out in God's time. So yeah, I'm happy to share this experience with you. I don't know if you guys like this kind of videos. Let me know. I'm also trying like some other kind of videos too. Let me know what kind of videos you like me to post and what kind of things you like me to do. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. And do not forget to be kind. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Peace.